If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Okay, so let's talk about this new NLE Choppa album. Me vs. Me released last Friday on January 28th, and is a, comeback to form for NLE Choppa, who's previously kind of ventured into this whole spiritual, awakened, from dark to light type of sound after, initially coming up on this very aggressive, violent type of rap and flows and lyrics and all that got him to the place where he's at today, and that's the NLE Choppa we all know, the Shotta Flow NLE Choppa. So this new album now, Me vs. Me, being a return to form to this OG version of NLE Choppa, a lot of fans obviously had some expectations for this. We already knew that, some leaks were going to be on here that fans have been wanting for the longest time now, even though a lot of the leaks that fans have been demanding to be on here are not on here. And I've seen a lot of y'all complain, people that are more into NLE Choppa and really like NLE Choppa stans. I'm not personally. They said, we wanted so many other tracks on here that didn't make it. So that's one thing I do want to point out, that not all the leaks and unreleased stuff that people wanted to be on here made it in the end. But let's talk about this album. This thing is 16 tracks with 53 minutes of runtime. Me vs. Me, I like the, cover art and all that. I like the concept of Me vs. Me. The rollout was really messy with it being delayed like 4 times. I made a lot of videos, going over the whole course of that. But now we finally got it, and I don't want to look back too much in the past. We got some singles to start off this album. They dropped over the course of like half a year before that. For example, we got Jumpin' with Polo G, we got Final Warning, IYB, then also Drop Shit, and also Too Hot with Moneybagg Yo. So quite a few singles for 16 tracks. That doesn't mean though that we got too much beforehand, like a Jonah Lucas type of rollout, that the album wasn't interesting. It was still very interesting. But let's talk about the actual tracks. There's no real narrative behind this, so this can just be seen as more of a playlist. He even released it as an EP on Spotify, which kind of threw me off because I thought this was going to be like the big album that he's now doing, but he just labeled it an EP, so I'm not sure what's up with that. If any of you know more about that, please let me know in the comments. We start off with Shotta Flow 6, a highly anticipated record, of course. The first 5 Shotta Flows were the ones that really brought up NLE Choppa, that got him to the point where he's at today. So a new installment in this series was overdue, and this new one is pretty good. I do like this. He switches up his flows quite a bit on here. I like that he's back to this very aggressive energy. Some the bars aren't like too crazy, just some typical NLE Choppa stuff, but he always delivers them in a way that is comical but still witty in a way. So I did like that, and I think that satisfied a lot of fans because we finally got that 6th Shotta Flow. I think he also confirmed that this is going to be the last Shotta Flow in this this installment in the series, so I think it's going to be a very special piece. We then go into Push It featuring Young Thug. Very repetitive hook. I'm not too sure what to think about this. The Young Thug feature was just kind of like, yeah, okay, it's a Young Thug feature, nothing too crazy. Young Thug could have done so much more on this track, to be honest, but I guess that's just the verse he wanted to give Choppa right here. Pretty basic track, not a lot to say about this. I'm not going to go back to this too much. I did like some of the, some of the projections of his voice on here and stuff like that, but nothing that was too deep or too crazy. Jumpin' with Polo G was a fan favorite for a very long time. The two are very good together. I like that, I like that aggressive but still somewhat controlled stutter on the hook. I do really enjoy that. I think that goes hella hard, and I already liked that when the single dropped. As I said, we already got this as a single, so nothing too crazy, but I did like that. Trap Phone, I'm surprised it's not doing that well on streaming, but this was a single that was already released as a leak before, and a lot of people like this one. Personally, not too much of a fan of it. As I said, it's just a basic NLE Choppa track, and you could replace it with a lot of other stuff, but I do get that a lot of people had been wanting this because it's just been out there as a leak for so long that they just been wanting it. Final Warning, pretty good track, really solid. I liked when he released that back in like September, I think it was. A very hard track. Finally a comeback from NLE Choppa when that dropped to this old style, so this does hold a special place, of course, in fans' hearts. IYB was just kind of like, okay, it's only 1.5 minutes, nothing too crazy. I did like that he kind of took the pace out of it a little bit from the whole album, the momentum. Not that the track was any slower, but it didn't have, you know, some crazy going hi-hats on there, so it did kind of take the pace out of it. Stomping was pretty good. Same goes for Change My Ways. As I said, nothing too crazy to say about these tracks. I do want to point out though that the way he switches up his flows is pretty good and reminiscent of what he's done on his like older stuff way before Top Shotta. So I do like that he's going back to try and perfect his flows. I'm a Dog, funny track with a funny intro, but I do like his confidence on here. Definitely something that makes him stand out on here. You know, pretty solid track. Same goes for Still Hood. On Still Hood especially, the way he switches up his flows is really good, and that's probably the main thing I want to point out about this album, that we got an NLE Choppa that's back here really trying to work on his craft, or work on his ability to just switch flows and go crazy on these instrumentals, and I do enjoy that. That's why everybody liked NLE Choppa in the first place, and I like that he's going back to that now. Now, A Dropship was also a pretty good track. We got that before, but as I said, a lot of these tracks you can replace with one another and you wouldn't really, you know, notice that. Chicago to Memphis, G Herbo, pretty solid appearance on here. I did like that. That was also the track that we had some of the snippets for, so it goes pretty hard. Too Hot featuring Moneybagg Yo. Very solid track. Not much to add, even though I like NLE better than Moneybagg on here. Lick Me Baby is just, I don't know, it's an annoying track. I never go back to that. I just put it on before this video to kind of, you know, remind myself again of what the tracks were like. And yeah, I'm just annoyed by that. And Young as a Dude, another one of those tracks that you could just replace with one another and you wouldn't really notice. So this new NLE Choppa album, Me vs. Me, is definitely a return to form to the OG NLE Choppa sound. He does go back to some of the qualities that made him stand out in the first place, like regularly switching up his flows and really perfecting that. But, you know, it's nothing too crazy trying to elevate himself artistically or creatively. It's just a solid project for all the people that have always enjoyed that OG NLE Choppa sound. But in terms of, you know, broadening his audience or trying to, you know, create something artistically elevated, this is not really it. But as I said, it's a solid NLE Choppa track. If you like the style, then go for it. This whole album is for you. You could probably enjoy every single track on here, maybe except for Lick Me Baby, because that was just annoying. But that's my thoughts, that's my opinions, my review. Now I want to know what you think about this. Were you excited for this? What are your favorite tracks? What are your least favorite tracks? What do you think of all the singles we got before that? Did you like that he had such few features on here, and do you think that they performed the way that you wanted them to? And where do you think NLE Choppa is now going from here in his career? All of that, let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.